My name is Joey B. The founder of Blind Knowledge. I am also the host here on Knowledge This Degree. You can catch Knowledge This Degree right here on Blind Knowledge Network. We are on Twitter at Pod This Degree. And of course, Blind Knowledge is at blindknowledge.com. If you keep refreshing that screen, that website will pop up. I swear. I promise. It might not be right now, but it will pop up. Just keep refreshing. F5 it. You'll see it eventually. And when it is up, it's going to be shiny and miraculous. I can't wait. Blind Knowledge, we're all over the place. Blind Knowledge is on Facebook at Blind Knowledge. We're on Instagram at The Blind Knowledge. We're on TikTok at The Blind Knowledge. Twitch at The Blind Knowledge. And on Twitter at blind_knowledge, because I got to figure out who owns Blind Knowledge on Twitter. That's my next thing on my 80-mile to-do list, is to figure out who that cat is. But anyway, welcome back to another live streaming episode. And if you're not watching us live, well, then you're probably listening to us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. So welcome. This is specifically the Behind the Content series, where we talk to podcasters, we talk to artists, we talk to musicians, and we talk to digital content creators. Oh, and gamers and live streamers as well, about what makes them tick. What brought them to the game, sort of say. You know, why this industry? Why do it at all? Why keep doing it? What makes you want to be a content creator? So that's the scope and the heart of it, really, is, what makes them tick, why, who, where, what's the influence there? So basically, that's it in a nutshell. Behind the content. And today we have a very cool gentleman by the name of Steven. Hello, Steven.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Yo, man, I'm doing good. So guys and girls and everybody, this is Steven. He is the host of Break On Through podcast. You can catch Break On Through all over the place. Of course, they're on Spreaker, they're on Spotify, they're on Apple. They are everywhere.
Everywhere podcasts are available.
That's it, man. So, Steven, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I got to be a guest on your show not too long ago on Break On Through, and it was a great time. Such an easy interview, so smooth, so chill. And now the tables have turned, my friend. The tables have indeed turned. Yes. And now I got you on my podcast. So it's time to shine the spotlight over on Steve and Break On Through. Steve, man, you have such a good podcast. What made you get started in podcasting in general?
Well, I've been listening to podcasts for years, but what really made me jump into it was, I mean, just like a lot of us, the pandemic really sparked it. But growing up, my father was a musician, and cool. As awesome as he was, he never really had a breakout moment or a place to, I don't know, he didn't have the platforms that we have today to be able to do this. So I wanted to kind of create a podcast that would shine a light on musicians or people in the music industry or whatever, that would kind of help them push their message and their name or their music out there, maybe bring it to somebody who's never heard of it, because I truly believe that everybody's favorite musician is one that you've never heard, and they're out there and they're waiting to be discovered. And there's so many great, talented people. And the fact that I get to meet so many of them is, honestly, it's enough of why I do it. I love doing it.
That's so cool. So basically, you're getting behind the musician.
Absolutely. I like to start it out. I have local level musicians. I don't like calling them that because I do have guys that tour, but the majority of them, they're on a local level. They just haven't had their break yet. I've had quite a few people on my show that are really just a stone's throw away from getting a deal.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm lucky enough that I've had him on my show. You're one of them, Joey. Hey, look, man,
Oh,
your
gee
show,
whiz.
listen,
Gee
your
willikers.
episode quickly became one of the most popular episodes in 7 days. 7 days.
7 days. Hey,
Pat
I'll
yourself on
take
the
that.
back, man.
I'll take that. I will take that pat on the back for sure.
Absolutely. It was a
For
great show,
sure.
man. It really was. It was the easiest conversation I've had, but
It was.
but these
It's so
people,
easy.
there's so many people out there that are, I feel like they just get passed by, and it's such a shame
True.
because I don't know. There's just so much untapped talent out there, and I want to meet them all, and I want to have them all on the show, and I want them all to put their message out there, and if I can just help one of them, it'd be worth it.
That's awesome. So it's just getting the word out and
Mhm.
just being a being a an announcement post almost for
Absolutely.
these up and comers and almost professionals and probably some professionals as well. That's great, and it must some of it must come from being a guitarist yourself. You play a little bit of sixth string.
I play a little bit, yeah. I've kind of
Okay.
bounced back and forth throughout my life. Like I said, growing up, my father was a guitar player, and I always thought I was going to have this like inherent talent to play guitar, but it just doesn't work that way. So I mean, I'm kind of like I like to refer to myself as the living room legend. I'm never going to do anything with
The
it. I like
living room legend. I love that.
yeah, I play for my kids and my wife, and for me, and I enjoy it. I record a little bit here and there, but you know. Uh, I'm 41 and I just kind of feel like that ship has kind of sailed for me and I want to focus more on I don't know, kind of like being a vocal promotional kind of guy for people out there if I can. Just
Okay.
spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word, spread the love that way, basically.
Absolutely. Mhm.
But I don't know, man. Bob Weir is still touring these days. He's still out there. It's a tough thing to I never let go of. You never know what's going to happen.
Honestly,
Um,
Joey, I've hit a point where, I've got 4 kids and a wife. I'm pretty content with just being the guy at home behind the microphone. So I don't feel
that's
like
fair.
I'm missing out on anything.
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. Responsibilities and comfort and all that.
For
That's
sure.
some good stuff. And then yeah, it's invaluable right there for sure. Wow. You mentioned your dad.
Mhm.
Big influence for you growing up
Huge.
and just in general. Yeah.
Huge. My dad is such a phenomenal guy. He's a bit of a talker, but I mean, for I had him on my podcast, so it was a great ordeal. But he has got to be one of no, he's got to be the best guitar player I've ever met. I mean, he is
Really? Wow.
phenomenal. He's phenomenal, and he tried to get his big shot. He was either I think it was like in the early '90s, or maybe he went down to Nashville to try to see if he could make something happen, but he kind of got comfortable doing he was a local legend. I mean, if you go back to where I'm from, where I'm from, people
Oh
they
yeah.
know him. They know him. He's well known up there and he's went out on tour with like Jimmy Buffett. He's played with like Jim Cafferty and the Beaver Brown. Like he's played with all like these kind of like old school legendary people, but he was just never
That's
really
awesome.
able to get the ball rolling in his corner. He was never really able to make it happen for himself.
Mm,
Um, and it bums me out because
okay.
he really was he's such a great guy, man. He would have been like such a great like uh celebrity. He would have been awesome at it.
It's cool though. It's cool to have someone to look up to and for a reason why you do things and reason why you are the way you are. I
Yeah.
mean, you said your dad has the gift for gab, and obviously that's
Mhm.
been passed down. That's a trait that you have because on Break On Through on your podcast, it's very your questions are just simple and easy and well phrased,
Thanks,
but
man.
open ended. They're enough where it's like, all right, I could take this on a magic carpet ride wherever I want to go with it, which is pretty cool. Um,
Well, it's like I tell people when they come
yeah,
on, I don't want to put the focus of my show isn't my show. And I don't ever want it to be my show. It's not about that. I want it to be all the guest show. Okay. Everybody who comes
yeah,
on, it's your show. When you come on, I don't want to ask you the complex questions. I want you to tell a story about where you came from and where you want to go. And I want you to put out the message that you want to put out, not the message I want you to put out, not the message I think people want you to say. I want people to come on and say what they want to say. I
yeah.
want them to push what they want to push or promote what they want to promote. Yeah, so I try to keep it open ended. That's always been the goal since day one.
That's cool. So it's an announcement post. Really,
Mhm.
it's a way to get the word out. It's a promotional block, and it's a
Absolutely.
good way to do it. I mean, that's basically what I'm doing here is
Mhm.
promoting and pushing and trying to get to the bottom, the roots of the content makers, especially the ones over at Blind Knowledge. Don't forget about us. We're at blindknowledge.com. Just click refresh a bunch of times, and you might see the website sometime soon. Anyway, getting back to Steve. Steve, we're Break On Through podcast. You can
Yes,
catch
sir.
him on Spotify. You can catch him on Twitter, man. You can catch him all over the place. Um, you know what I've noticed, man, is the podcast community, especially on Twitter.
Mm,
It's welcoming. It's warm.
very.
It's not
Mm,
how it used to be. It used to be a little more cutthroat, a little more competitive, and I'm sure some still are, but from what I've found getting back into it, getting back into Twitter, back into the industry myself, is that it's become more wholesome, more welcoming, and then there's like patches of communities of podcasts that all kind of follow each other and
mm.
do these Twitter spaces. I mean, have you found that it's been welcoming, overall?
Absolutely. I haven't actually been around the podcast world for too long, but I've kind of grown like become like part of this little pod family on Twitter. And you're right, it's a very welcoming thing. Like I've heard stories of kind of back in the day, it was cutthroat because there weren't as many
Yeah.
shows, so everybody was kind of clawing their way to the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas now it's more like people will stop from their show to help you with your show, or they'll say, like, send me a promo for your show. I'm going to throw it on my show and try to get you some more downloads and listens. And it's all very back and forth, and everybody is
Yeah.
super tight. But I love it. Without the pod community on Twitter, I don't think Break On Through would have ever honestly happened, because I had a lot of problems in the beginning being the new guy on the block. I couldn't get people to commit to coming on the show. And it was through people like Pixie, which she's from Next on Stage One and Project Podcast with Pixie, and my boy Rick Horn
Cool.
from the Piggly Dog, my boy Vinny from Chat Smash. And all these guys, they like helped me kind of develop my skill at what I'm doing.
Mm.
So without them, I don't think my show would have ever got off the ground. And now it's like I'm part of the family. I mean, so if you want to start a podcast, I can't tell people enough. Start your podcast. Come out there. You never know who you're going to meet. Yeah, that's how I ended up on Blind Knowledge with you. I mean, I avoided anybody who was like, join this group, but you were
As
such
you should.
yeah, but you were such a
As you
genuine guy
should.
with such a solid message, and like you seemed to know the direction you wanted to go, and I liked it. You sold me like instantly. Like you didn't even ask me to be on it, and I was sold. Like it was such a good idea. But yeah, the podcast community is freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so big. It's so big that you kind of need that camaraderie. You can't just go at each other. I mean, it's not like there's like 32 teams like it's football, like NFL, but there's like 750,000 active podcasts or
Yeah.
somewhere around there, or maybe even 1.2 million. I saw
Oh,
as
I
a
don't
number
doubt
on
it.
another site just in the US.
Mhm.
And now it's just starting to expand over to India, starting to get bigger in Australia.
Everywhere.
Europe, especially. Yeah, it's even China. I saw a map the other day of China is on there. It's very well established here where we are in the US, but
Mhm.
it's starting to go global and starting to it's starting to become a thing, as the thing as it has over here, because of course we always had we had MP3s and Napster. Before that we were going with strawberries and
Strawberries.
you
God,
like
this is
strawberries.
love strawberry. This is the second time somebody's brought up strawberries to me in like 3 weeks. This is awesome.
Strawberries. Go there, get a CD. Check out the
Mhm.
CDs and the
I used to love that
whatever
store.
else is in there. Yeah, man. I used to hang out in there.
Oh, I did too. I love that store.
It's
Music stores are
awesome.
great. I
Yeah.
have two podcasts. I have my podcast that I do, and I have another podcast that I do with my wife. And I think that podcast at this point, we've hit every continent and almost every country so far. So
Wow.
I've
That's great.
noticed that, the other one blew up. I don't know what happened. It just like a bomb went off.
What's the
But
name of it? What's the name of it?
it's called For the Booze. It's kind of like a comedy mixed with paranormal stuff. Like basically me and my wife, we spend a lot of time watching paranormal YouTube stuff and paranormal shows. It's just it's our common thing that we have together. It's what we love to do.
Interesting.
So we took our sitting around the living room talking trash about it and said, "Hey, we should probably make this something." And that was actually my original plan for a show, was not Break On Through. It was this other one, but I couldn't get her to come on. And my second episode of Break On Through, if anybody wants to go back and listen to it, it's actually a really good episode. It's me and my wife sitting in the living room talking about her band days back in high school, reading sheet music and playing in the band. But after she kind of got a taste of that, she was like, "Yeah, I'm in. Let's go ahead and do a show." And I was like, it just, the ball started rolling from there. But it's a lot of fun. It's funny, but you got to like take it with a grain of salt. We do kind of talk a little trash on that show, so
Fair.
it's fun.
A little trash that isn't so bad, you know. Switches it up a little bit, and now you've taken this one-on-one conversation and given it to the masses because why not?
It's a peek into my living room, man. That's all it is.
Great. That's great. That's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. Hey, if you're just tuning in right now, I see some new watchers, new followers right there. This is Knowledge This Degree. I'm here over with Steve from Break On Through Podcast. We are presented by Blind Knowledge. Check it out, Blind Knowledge. Place. And yeah, man, we're just hanging out behind the content series, trying to get to know our content creators over at Blind Knowledge, and then other people too. You know, we're doing I'm doing some interviews with musicians and comedians and just all these wacky cats that are into this stuff. And I think you got to be a little wacky to get into any kind of creativity, don't you think?
I find like a common thing with most podcasters is we're a bit reclusive, all of us, and like it's a big thing. It's something we all have, but I think you got to be a little crazy to podcast, man, to sit there and come up with a story and put it down and then spend all your free time editing it and then chasing the numbers and making the friend. It really does. It consumes your life. It really does. I hate to say it, but it does. It consumes your life. It is literally a part of my everyday at this point, you know, so
yeah,
but no regrets because it's awesome. I love to do it. You know, it's a lot of fun. I wish I would have started a lot earlier.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. No regrets though.
Yeah, no regrets, man.
That's what's up.
I forgot we were live and people could come in.
yeah, people are alive. You know, if anything goes wrong, you know, it's just going to be seen by everybody.
Sorry, you can blame me.
That's just my style, though. I have a background from college radio to internet radio, you know, and now podcasting, where it's like, well, my style has always just been do it. And that's how it's going to come out. So here we are. I don't even know if I'm going to edit these yet. I haven't even decided. Well, why? You know, well, we have.
I mean, there's kind of something about an unedited interview, honestly, that like when you edit it down too much, you kind of lose something of it. That's just me though, because I don't edit my interviews. I like to leave in all the crap. Because I feel like it's got a certain charisma to it, you know, like you can really see how quirky your people really are, you know, in all the good and bad ways, you know, all of it.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. You know, it depends. Like if there's some really big screw up, maybe we do edit it a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah.
I probably got to throw some promos somewhere in here. I've been working on figuring out how to do it live, but not yet. I'll get there. Maybe the next one, you know, see what happens. But little things like that, got to figure out like a logo but this props to StreamYard. They have a great product and we're going to keep utilizing it over here at Knowledge This Degree for sure. It took me a while to figure out a good video player. Now getting off topic a little bit, so I'm going to bring it back. Steve, you're over on Good Pods, right? You have good numbers on there, dude. Tell us about that.
Yeah, currently, I mean, the last time I checked anyways, it could be different now, but I am the number one indie and the number one music interview podcast over on Good Pods. As of right now, it's fluctuated here and there, but for the most part, I sit at the top of that list.
That's awesome.
It makes it worth it. I mean, I've never really tried to chase the pod life to get rich or anything, but I think every podcaster would be lying if they told you they wouldn't like to turn it into a career at some point.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
What's a thing like you'll hear a lot online is people say, I'm not in it for the money or the numbers and stuff. I mean, none of us really came into it for that, but you can't tell me that any one of you would turn it down because I wouldn't. I love
Exactly.
it. I love doing it.
I do too. I hear you. Yeah, it becomes part of you. It becomes like what you focus on, what drives you, and then it's like, all right, how do I
Mhm.
start living off of this so I can spend more of my time doing what I love doing and
That's right.
sink more hours into this beast that I've just created that has a mind of its own. And it's like you got to keep up with it too. You got to stay
Absolutely.
consistent, especially when you see your viewership and your audience growing. It's exciting. And then, like for you, man, you hit number one. I
Yeah.
mean, shit.
I feel like networking is such an underrated thing that people forget about. Is like when you do a podcast, it's not just about putting on a quality podcast or anything. Because I'll be honest, like quality, if you like music, then fine. Yeah, my podcast is quality, but I'm literally recording a podcast off of all the equipment that I just had laying around from recording music. But if you, it doesn't matter what I'm trying to get at. See, I'll derail this quick, buddy. I will get us off
Yeah,
topic.
we'll see where it goes.
But
I'll bring us back. No
yeah.
worries.
But like what I'm trying to get at is no matter how quality of a podcast you have, if you don't network it to people, nobody's going to hear you unless you get lucky and
Right.
you just, you just kind of get it one day. But networking is just such an underrated thing. And that could be something as simple as like what we said at the beginning of this. Like, I just learned to make friends in the podcast community, and that alone will do wonders for the show. But be good to the people, like give shout outs and, put people's promos in your show and,
Oh yeah.
you
Just
know,
talk about them a little bit. Put
yeah,
the
be
name
good
out
people.
there.
Be a good person, man. Just
Exactly.
be a good person.
Exactly. Spread the love. Spread the love and the
For sure, man.
cheers.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. It's all about community. It's all about entertainment, and it's
Mhm.
informative over here, at least the blind knowledge that Steve is a part of with Break On Through and
Absolutely.
many others have committed to the cause. It's all about information, man. It's all about entertaining. So it's informative and entertaining, and you get that over Break On Through for sure. For sure. I mean, do you see yourself branching off in any other way besides, what you're doing now? I know you have a revamp kind of coming up.
I'm gonna
Uh,
be after this coming
we'll
week's episode, I'm gonna be
just
shutting
get
it
into it.
down.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna shut it. I'm gonna shut it down for about a month, and I'm gonna come back where it's still gonna be the same show, but I'm gonna be adding some new aspects into the show. I don't want to give away too much, but there's gonna be more informational. Hey, how you doing?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
No, that was just a car horn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
there'll be a little more informational aspect, so there'll be a little more research involved in it. I want to bring some stories into it that retain around like maybe some of the more famous musicians and how they became started in the music industry. I like to think that maybe there's some young kids out there that listen to my show and think, oh, I'd love to play guitar, and I want to inspire them. So I want to
Yeah,
add some new things. I want to get some more guests for the show. Maybe some on a little bit of a higher level, and maybe some on a little bit of a lower level. But I want to branch out, and I want to make the show bigger. That's the whole
yeah.
point. I want to make my
Let's go
show bigger,
bigger,
all
bigger.
encompassing, all
Yeah.
encompassing of the music world.
Hey, go big or go home, man. It's you gotta either you're gonna do it or you're gonna not do it. So we might
Mhm.
as well. And I could definitely picture, more well-known guests,
Mhm.
and also, maybe you get some kids with some local bands in there, just talking
Absolutely.
shop. Maybe they'll learn a thing or two. You
That's what
never
I'm
know.
working on. Hey man, you hit
Right.
it right. You hit it right on the nose, Joey.
Right on. Right on, yeah. And I noticed we're both repping the Pats. This
Oh,
is a
yes, sir.
Patriots hat as well. I got the alternative, but hell yeah, dude.
I
Hell yeah.
almost threw on the jersey and the sweater, but I was like, I'll
We
keep
could
it
have
low
done that. We
level.
could have been a Patriots theme, but it is past the Super Bowl. We probably get a lot of hate for it too because
Right.
everyone hates the Pats.
Actually, listen now, people don't hate the Pats as much anymore now that Tom Brady's gone. Now that
Uh,
because
that's that's nice.
we're
That's
not
encouraging.
we're not the soul crushing team anymore. So
Yeah, not anymore. We were for a long time though.
20 years, 20
Yeah.
years,
Oh, it
man.
was great, man. It was great. I was there. I was there in
Yeah.
person. I was there watching on TV. It was just, oh, it was great.
So, a side story, right? I was 21, I think, when they won the first Super Bowl with Tom Brady. And I was here in Florida, and me and my sister went out to this bar. Now, if anybody's listening, I don't condone shit like this because it was very dumb. But we went out to this bar, and all night we would do shots and go Patriots, and we would smash them on the ground. And they let this go on for like 4 hours, man.
Oh
And
wow,
yeah, we almost went to jail, but my sister, she took care of the bill for me. But it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
that's cool. That's cool.
Ah,
It does sound like a lot of fun. A lot of broken glass. But a lot
tons.
of fun. Yeah, that's how that shit goes. I jumped into a pond once because we won the championship. It was a dirty, dirty pond. A lot of pond scumminess happening there, but at that point in time, at my age and the substances that were involved, it
Jeez.
didn't matter. It did not matter. The Patriots were winning, and we were jumping in the pond, and that was that. But
Was this up?
so
Was this up north?
yeah, that was in
Yeah.
Rhode Island, actually. Smithfield, Rhode Island. Shout out to
Not too
Bryant
not
University.
not too not too many clean ponds up that way.
No, no, not especially not in October, November, or whenever it was. I think it was
You know,
January. Super Bowl. Yeah.
where I'm from, the Taunton River rolled right through town. So
Okay.
yeah, they pulled a
Yeah.
lot of dead bodies out of there when I was a kid. So it was pretty gross.
Yeah, it is pretty. That's rough. That's
Yeah,
rough.
yeah.
Uh,
I got some other stories, but they're not so friendly. So we're gonna leave them off of here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, hey, what can you tell us? Well, what can you tell us that would be really inspirational to someone that is starting a new podcast, that is looking to get into this industry? What should they focus on, in your opinion, that has helped you get to, going from, never doing it to doing the damn thing? Like, what should they focus on?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, don't give up. Have an idea, but don't be afraid to let that idea morph into something other than what it might have started out as. So, I mean, don't get too in love with maybe your first idea. Allow yourself to grow as the opportunity grows. Um, but just keep plugging along. I think a lot of people, the biggest thing is people give up when it gets too hard. And I was a victim of that. I almost gave up because it was getting too hard, and I kind of needed that kick in the butt from somebody to kind of help me out. But honestly, it's really that simple. Just don't give up, and don't be afraid to let it become what it wants to become. There's no shame in straying from your original idea and maybe growing on it or even changing it, but just don't give up. Just keep going. They say most podcasts fail. If they're gonna fail, they fail like within the first 12 episodes or something. So if you can get over that hump, you're kind of locked in. So I mean, just push yourself. Just push yourself to do it. You won't regret it. It's a lot of fun. And get out there and meet people. Go on Twitter and get into the podcast community, because those people will really help you out. And yeah, don't give up. Just don't give up.
Don't give up hope.
Don't give
There is
up.
hope, everybody. There is good things. There is good things out there. Podcasting is one of them. I always tell people when they're going to start podcasting, or if they ask, like, where do I start? I always say, like, all right, well, just start by recording yourself, like, on your cell phone. Don't even buy a mic yet. Just listen to, like, just either read something or just kind of talk to the phone about whatever. And just like good 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, that's fine.
Mhm.
And just listen to yourself back and just listen to how you speak, what your presentation is, the
Inflection. I got you.
thank you. The inflections on your voice, your tone, and just like your pauses, your breath. I mean, there's a lot to it, that you don't have to be perfect, but you want to familiarize yourself with your own voice and yourself, and you want to, that's really where you want to start.
Mhm.
And then if you're like, okay, this is good, maybe get a mic, maybe start going that route. It just depends. It depends on your drive. It depends on what your plans are, and you should make plans. Figure out, do you want to co-host? Do you not want to co-host? I always encourage a co-host if you're starting off, but in some cases, like with Steve, doing just fine on his own. It just depends on the person and what you're doing. So don't give up hope, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, my co-host is kind of like my guest. Whoever I have on is automatically kind of dubbed my co-host.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
But I agree, like, that's always a topic that comes up a lot in podcasting is like, well, what do I need to podcast? Well, you don't really need anything. You do it with a
Right.
Bluetooth headset. You could do it without it. You could do it straight into your phone. I got a buddy who's 100 episodes in on his podcast, and he's been doing it on a $35 USB microphone, and his show sounds awesome.
That's impressive.
He has a very good quality show. It sounds great. It sounds well put together. And like I said, these like $35, man.
That's
That's
not bad. That's not bad. I mean, it just depends on where you're at, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's a deal. Of course, there is a little bit of investment if you're going to do the podcast thing. If you want to be in it and really do it, you got to distribute yourself. So you got to use a distribution service like Spreaker, Anchor. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, and you gotta just go for it. Do whatever, and like Steve said, actually, go where it takes you. You know, you start with something, but like, for instance, I had no idea we were gonna go here in this conversation.
no.
I don't know. It just did, and it just kind of you kind of just gotta let it go and let it go where it's gonna go. But then you roll back in. There's a knowledge degree. I'm hanging out with Steve from Break On Through, and that's how you do the thing. That's how you do the thing, yo. Well, Steve, this has been so fun. So fun. I always love chilling with you. I had such a great time doing an interview on your show. I'm glad you could come on to my show and we did this. Anything else you want to say to anyone out there that's watching or listening about Break On Through, or just anything, any wise words from the wise man?
I'm not the wisest man, but if you want to listen to the show, it's Break On Through. It can literally be found on every podcast platform. If you are on Good Pods, please go give me 5 stars and rate my show. That would be great.
5 stars.
But yeah. Just remember, if you do listen, I'm about 17, 18 episodes in right now, so y'all have plenty to listen to. I'll be back in about a month. It'll be bigger and better than ever. I'm actually going to bring it back to what you said about gear. You do hit a point where you will buy some gear.
Yeah.
And both of my shows are about to get a serious upgrade. So
you hit a point. You hit a point where it's like, okay, it's time to upgrade, you know, the sound, because you need good sound. I don't care what anybody says. Sound quality is important in this game. Absolutely. Because no one wants to listen to like just a scratchy, gamey
phone call.
Yeah, phone call. Yeah, no, it's not what you want to hear coming through your car stereo. So
if anybody out there wants to come on the show, or if you want to talk about maybe your music career, or you just want to be a guest, I like to have people on that just talk about how music kind of inspired them growing up. You can email me at breakonthrough. Was a breakonthroughpod@gmail.com. And also check out my other show with my wife. If you like paranormal or just like people who make fun of stuff, check it out. It's For the Booze, also on every platform. So check them out. I'd love to have you as a listener and part of the family.
Yo, man, that's what it's all about. That's my dude Steve, Break On Through podcast. Yo, check him out. If you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'll point you in the direction. Come check us out at Blind Knowledge. Blind_knowledge on Twitter, The Blind Knowledge everywhere else. We're going to be promoting Steve. We're going to be promoting everybody else. And it's going to be real good. Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much. I am going to let you go, and I'm just going to wrap up with the killer audience we have. And thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on, man.
You got it, man. Again, that was Steve, host of Break On Through podcast. Again, you can check him out on Good Pods. Give him 5 stars over on Good Pods. He's also on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Music, Podbean, and Blind Knowledge. That's right, Blind Knowledge. This is the spot. And of course, you're listening to specifically Knowledge This Degree. I'm at Pod This Degree on Twitter. Definitely give me a heads up, a thumbs up, or just send a message, man. You like it, you don't like it, you want to be on? Well, there is some vetting, but we'll see what we can do. This has been another episode of Behind the Content, and I think it's going pretty well, to be honest with you. We're knocking out a lot of content. We're having a lot of great conversations. A lot of these are not going in the direction I ever thought they would, and that's a beautiful thing. I love that. We're keeping it spontaneous, having a lot of fun. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joey B, and we will see you when we see it.